Today is Friday. We made it to the weekend. It is February 5th, 2016, and this is Wayne Goldsboro Television. It's going to be one of those, I know. Go ahead. I'm Wayne Alley. Who are you?
And I'm Kate Daniel.
Thank you very much. Glad you're here. This is
yes,
Friday. Feels good.
It does. It does.
There's a hint of goofiness in the air, and I have no idea where that's coming from.
Just a little flavor.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we've got, gee whiz, got stuff to talk about. Got the trivia question coming up for you. We've got birthdays to look at. Today is the 5th. It's National Weatherman's Day.
It's your day.
National Weatherman's Day. I love talking about weather and stuff like that. I do.
You do.
I
do.
do. Yeah,
you do.
it's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It is fascinating, yeah.
It's fascinating.
And the old joke is that you know, where else can you work and make that kind of money and be wrong half the time? That's an old joke. And you know what? Weathermen are really tired of hearing that.
Yeah.
They hate hearing that. Just ask them. I don't want to hear that. Go, Wayne, go.
Go, Wayne, go.
That's
go,
tomorrow.
Wayne, go.
Tell us about that.
Time to walk. They have announced their 2016 spring walks lineup. They are on Saturdays beginning at 9 a.m. Grab a friend, bring your kids, your grandkids. You can stroll them along, or you can just meet up with the group. And if you go and you don't think you're going to know anybody, I promise you 5 minutes into that walk you will have made some new friends.
You certainly will.
So kudos to those of Go, Wayne, Go. There is a walk this Saturday in downtown Goldsboro. They're going to meet at the courthouse steps and do Walnut Street and walk 1 to 3 miles, including the beautifully newly renovated Center Street and at the old railroad station. So a lineup of all theirs is on their website and on their social media pages. Again, it's Go and Go. If you have trouble finding them, just contact the chamber and we will point you in the right direction to put your tennis shoes on and start walking.
Don't let your Go, Wayne, go get gone.
That's right. That's right. And if you're not sure what Go, Wayne, Go is, I will tell you. It is a community initiative and an effort to get people moving. We all know that our entire country is seeing far too much obesity, and we're not moving like we should, and we all know that chronic illnesses lots of times are tied to unhealthy lifestyles, and one of the best things that we can do is increase our activity, drink more water, and obviously make better decisions about our food. So I feel like sometimes when you think, I'm going to start eating better, that's a good start, but if you're not doing the activity, it's almost like if you focus on the activity more, you're more conscientious of what you're eating. Yeah. I feel like that's how it works for me.
That's very true.
You can sign up online for it, and they give you a really bright neon green t-shirt. It doesn't cost you anything, and the whole premise is, let's see this neon green all over our community.
Right.
Right.
All right, here's today's trivia question. The category is assassins.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, pretty
dark for a Friday,
I know
sir.
it is, yeah. I should have something a little more cheerful. Well, it's smiling assassins, we'll call it. Smiling assassins, today's category. Many remember back in the 80s when President Ronald Reagan was attacked by a fellow by the name of John Hinckley and was shot. And he came closer than people realized to not making it. But in a true Reagan style, he was quite the sport, even in the hospital room, as he was joking with doctors. But that's not anything to do with our trivia question. I just thought I'd throw that in. With what actress was assassin John Hinckley Jr. obsessed and wanted to prove himself to? What was the actress? That's why he did this,
I do not know that.
That's why he did this. He did this to impress an actress. I'll tell you after the break, after the interview. Coming up on Monday, which, by the way, is New Year's Day. Monday, February 8th is New Year's Day. But Monday, February 8th, 2016, Ethel Barnes, our friend with the Public Affairs Specialist for the Social Security Administration, she's going to hold her office hours from 10 until noon at the Peggy M. Seeger Senior Center on East Ash Street, as she does regularly. She will be available to meet with seniors and address any questions or concerns you may have relating to Social Security. Appointments are not necessary. You just walk in and she will help you. Ms. Barnes will see seniors on a first-come, first-served basis. That means you got to be 60 and above.
That's right. They are doing incredible things over there. Thank you, thank you.
Yes, indeedy. Monday is Chinese New Year.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. And we'll talk about that. It's interesting.
That is.
It is interesting. Chinese New Year, it's the year 47 something. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Right now, we'll go to our break. We'll be back after this interview. We're very honored to be in the presence of a native of Goldsboro who has become a rising star on the international on the international stage, and we welcome, of course, back to the studios, Ambassador Karl Eikenberry. Sir, it's great to see you.
Wayne, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Great to have you with us here. Gee whiz, what a career you have had. 35 years in the Army. Graduate of Goldsboro High School, 1968. West Point.
69?
69?
Yep.
I beg your pardon. We need to call
I'm not that old.
Let's call Wikipedia right now. No, you don't look that old. I could tell. West Point as a second lieutenant, and then that began your military career.
It did, yes.
And let's see, now according to my notes, you served 2 tours in Afghanistan,
I did.
eventually becoming the commander of the American-led forces there.
I had 2 tours as a soldier, and then a third time as the U.S. ambassador. So 3 tours.
3 tours, actually, when you include the ambassadorship. President Obama named you as ambassador to Afghanistan.
He did.
That was in '09, I believe, right?
It was shortly after he was inaugurated.
Right. And you were very familiar with the country, the nation, the people, the president, Karzai. And you are noted to be rather not only well-spoken, but outspoken as well. You speak your mind. And that has at times, even though it's, you know, they say the truth hurts sometimes, but you told the truth. You spoke your piece and
Well, I
created some ripples.
I tell you, Wayne, that I think that President Obama, he did create an environment in which you felt confident when giving what you thought was best advice, being able to provide that, even though you know that some around the table might have disagreements. But I give him great credit for that.
Well, if everybody agreed, then there would be something wrong with all of that.
And I think
that's
the
right.
point, right? These are real tough issues. These are complicated problems, and if the gold standard is that you want to bring a group of people together that are dealing with a problem, and that you're going to try to forge a 100% consensus, that's unrealistic. You're going to have disagreements, and the real hard calls then are for a person like the president, who's also the commander-in-chief, to have to take these different viewpoints, synthesize them, and then come to a decision.
Since that time, Afghanistan has almost disappeared from the news headlines.
It has.
To some degree.
It has. Unfortunately, we still have 10,000 troops there, and it hurts me a little bit to see that you can go through most of the newspapers this day and not have any news from Afghanistan.
Yeah. So, do you have an opinion on what the situation is now with that country? Although we have so many of our own military there, how do we stand?
It's a difficult situation that when we made the decision to start withdrawing U.S. troops, remember, Wayne, back in 2013, we had 100,000 troops there, 30,000 European troops and NATO allied troops, 130,000 altogether. Now that total number is down to about 13,000, about 10,000
Wow.
U.S. And so it's not a surprise that the security situation is not as stable as it was when we had that massive presence there. The economy of Afghanistan, it's running into some difficult times because just 5 years ago we were providing so much financial assistance, and then the presence of all those troops represented a lot of spending power in the country. So that's gone as well. And then the Afghans, not surprisingly, after having decades of civil war and internal violence, now they're trying to make this new democracy of theirs work. So if you look across the board at the security situation, the politics, the economic situation, they're struggling in certain areas. I do believe that as long as we maintain the troop presence that we have now, that the situation can remain stabilized. But I have no doubts that if we were to withdraw all of our forces today, that within a year the country would be in complete turmoil.
We've heard that story before.
We have, yeah. So
Yes, it reminds me very much of the Southeast Asia.
yeah, you know, Wayne, that pundits will say that easy to conduct a military intervention, it's very difficult to end one.
Yes.
And I think that that's been our experience. Easier to go in than it is to get back out again.
I do believe part of the criticism I continue to hear is that you have to have an exit strategy. You have to be able to know what you're going to do to get out.
Yeah. And if you recount the history of our intervention in Afghanistan, that's precisely the challenge. We went in initially with the goal of getting bin Laden and destroying al-Qaeda. And with each year, we seemed to change the goal line and keep moving it. Then it became building an army, then it became building a nation. And you look back over your shoulder and you wonder how you got there.
That goal line is also known as a line in the sand. Yeah, sorry about that. That being said, the Afghanistan people, they're good people. They, however, is the government still considered to be an ally of the U.S.?
Well, that's if you look at changes, Wayne, that have taken place over the last 14 years since our intervention in 2001. One of the more positive changes was just a year and a half ago when the Afghans conducted their first post-Karzai election. Good news.
Yes.
It actually worked. First time in Afghanistan that they've had a peaceful transfer of political power. That's pretty extraordinary.
Was that the blue thumb? Pink thumb?
It was an election that was troubled. There was fraud involved, and yet the fact is that they managed to have a peaceful transition. So better to have a flawed election by our standards, or the alternative is civil war.
Yeah.
So they did okay there. And then the president that was elected, unlike his predecessor, President Karzai, he has proven, along with his what they call chief executive officer, coalition government of national unity, Dr. Abdullah, those two together, they have been very closely aligned with the United States of America, and they've been very good partners to work with. So that's a positive change, that we've got somebody in the presidential palace who we can truly call a partner. And then beyond that, you mentioned the Afghan people, and yeah, Wayne, that's how you characterize them, good people. They're come from a culture that we would recognize in the United States. They believe in hard work. They believe in the value of education and trying to educate their children. We're seeing changes there where there seems to be much more positive changes in the Afghan people about the education of girls, and there's been big progress there. So I know that that part of the world that we look at all the way from North Africa through Central Asia, through South Asia, sometimes you, on a bad day, you start to come to a conclusion, maybe these are cultures that are just at odds with the United States of America. And I tell you, from my time in Afghanistan, that's simply not the case.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very good news. Would you care to comment on outside Afghanistan? What's going on in that part of the world? That there's a lot of people who are really nervous about the terrorists, the ISIS. What can you share, or if you want to share, what can you share about what's going on over there?
Yeah, Wayne, these are really difficult times for that part of the world. It's difficult for the rest of the world as we look at that region. So on the one hand, the United States, we have to look at threats to the U.S. national interest that can emanate from that region. And we look at various parts of it, as I said, from North Africa all the way through Central Asia into South Asia. There's areas there where you have terrorist groups that have international aspirations that have taken hold, and they're actively trying to figure out how to cause terror here in the United States. And so any president, no matter Democrat, Republican, their priority is going to be on keeping this country safe. And so we have to look at each one of these instances of breakdown of state order or violence in those countries with an eye on what's the potential risk of a terrorist group getting a sanctuary and then plotting to attack us. Against that, though, that you have a real sea change going on through that region where you have historical problems that are emerging that are very, very deep seated. And these are problems of religion. where you have the Shia and the Sunni in the world of Islam that are contending. You have within the Sunni world, you have violence where there's great debates going on about the future of their religion, perhaps not so different from the 1600s in Europe, where there was the contest between Protestants and Catholics, which were violent and led to lasting wars. You have regional powers that are emerging as the great powers have stepped back from that region, and now you have regional powers, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iran, Egypt. They're all vying for influence. And so it's a real complex sociological, security, political, historical, religious mix. And for the United States to sit back and say that we really have got to solve these problems. These are problems that are going to take decades to solve. Ultimately, they have to be solved by the people of that region. So the United States, what can we do? Work with other great powers the best we can. Number one, keep ourselves safe by scanning always and keeping your intelligence active and looking for the direct threats that emerge. But the real long-term solutions for these, the diplomatic solutions that need to occur, the political solutions that need to occur on the ground, these are going to take time. And the best the United States can do is work with allies, work with partners, try to contain the problem, and wherever we see opportunities, try to move in and see if we can facilitate diplomatic solutions.
Mr. Ambassador, you have been at Stanford for a number of years now, and tell us about your stay out there. What did you do there, by the way?
Well, Wayne was in the classroom teaching foreign policy and international security. I was running a program that we call, and still am, the U.S.-Asia Security Initiative, where I was helping Stanford to see if we could elevate Stanford's recognition globally and nationally as a institution which was doing, let's say, the best research on U.S.-Asia security issues, helping them with their education programs, and just helping to make Stanford a more of a convening location for debates on Asian security issues. And lastly, I've been working with the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and we have a project underway where we're looking at the impact of these various civil wars that are going on around the world on international order.
That is an interesting topic, and I'm sure that's an interesting place to be.
And lastly, Wayne, I'd want to add to that. I've been helping Stanford with their football recruiting.
Have you really?
And I'm taking credit for Stanford's Rose Bowl victory
Get out
this
of
year
here.
over Iowa. Yeah.
You rascal, you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Congratulations on that. That's wonderful. Well, I knew they did something right, you know? So, well, Stanford University, one of the top learning institutions in the world, having established itself in world matters and such. But you're leaving. You're leaving Stanford University.
I'll be leaving this summer and going to Northwestern in Evanston, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, to the only private school in the Big Ten Conference, Northwestern University. And I'll take over as the first executive director of what's called the Buffett Institute for Global Studies.
And that's brand new, isn't it?
It is. There was a Buffett Center that's existed now for some years. But Bertie Buffett, who happens to be the younger sister of Warren Buffett, Bertie, last year, about a year ago, she gave a $100 million gift to Northwestern, specifically to the Buffett Center. The president of the university, Morty Shapiro, he then saw this as an opportunity beyond the creation of an institute for Northwestern writ large to try to expand its global studies programs. They already have a lot going on there, but he looked at this as an opportunity then to build an institute, but then take advantage of this opportunity and to help the broader university international programs. Bertie Buffett was very seized with that idea, and so the decision was made an executive director would be needed to run this new institute And I was fortunate enough to be selected.
That's very exciting.
It is.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, very excited. It's Wayne, not in one sense, not a easy decision to make. My wife and I have been at Stanford now for 4.5 years. When we leave 5 years, that's the longest we've lived in any one location. Really? Yeah. So the roots were running deep. Stanford's a great institution, but Northwestern's a wonderful institution.
Yes.
Just a lot of opportunities there with this institute.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. So what would you like to see happen within the next 5 to 10 years at Northwestern under your care?
Well, it's interesting you should ask me that question, because a lot of the people on the campus and the institute have been asking me that question, and my answer, Wayne, is consistently that I want to assess the situation. I don't take over as the executive director until the 1st of September. They have a wonderful executive director right now, Professor Bruce Carruthers. He's got it. But in fact, I'll be making a trip there next week to Chicago, spending a couple days there, and I'll do that over the next few months to try to get a better sense of what direction do we want to take this institute. There's just so much going on in the world right now. You know, every day we're reminded that there's fewer and fewer things that this country of ours, the United States of America, can do beyond our borders unless we're cooperating with other countries. There's very few things that happen of any consequence in any part of the world that don't come back and have a consequence to the United States of America. And for the United States of America, given this world, if we're going to stay in the game and keep our leadership, we need a cadre of people in this country that understand that world and have experience in it. So it's exciting as I get ready to go to a Northwestern to think that in some small way maybe I can make a contribution along with the team at the Institute towards helping our country and helping those students that are there to help this nation be prepared to deal in this world of the future.
If I may be frank, sir, given your history and what you have been able to accomplish, I'd say we're in pretty good hands.
Well, that's very kind of you to say that. It's very kind,
I would say that, and I thank you very much for speaking with us today. We've been very honored to be speaking with the former ambassador to Afghanistan and 3-star general, Lieutenant General, Mr. Karl Eikenberry. Thank you very much, sir.
And don't forget, Wayne, most important, 1969 graduate of Goldsboro Senior High School.
Well, of course, 1969 graduate Goldsboro High School.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you. We're back on Wayne Goldsboro Television. A very quick reminder, you can see the program every morning at 7 o'clock. That show repeats again at noon and then again at 5:30 p.m. And we appreciate very much you being with us. If you have any questions at all regarding the program, if you want to throw rocks at me, that's fine. Just send me an email, rocks included. There it is on the screen now, just like magic. Magic, I say. It's wayne.alley@waynegov.com. And what was yours?
Kate D. at waynecountychamber.com.
I knew that. All right. Here's the answer to today's trivia question.
What is it?
Which actress was John Hinckley Jr. obsessed? With what actress? With which? Her name is Jodie Foster. He loved that woman. He was trying to impress her. So he said, I know what I'll do. I'll go out and I'll shoot Ronald Reagan. And he did.
I had no
Of course, it was a tragedy because, of course, James Baker, James Baker. And, of course, there was a gentleman who actually died in the shooting. But it was a horrible tragedy. All because he was trying to impress that young lady. And again, it all falls back on the sad situation of our mental health situation in America today. It just people need to start paying attention because we haven't been paying attention.
That's right.
And that is nothing more than a mental illness that this young man suffered from. Now, what else do we have? I'm glad I asked.
What else do we have, sir?
Okay. Read that.
Read that.
Please,
Caregiver classes are East Point Geriatric Adult Mental Health Specialty Team is offering caregiver classes at Peggy Seeger Senior Center. That was kind of hard to get out. And I'll tell you, it is incredible the lineup that the Peggy M. Seeger Senior Center has, and a huge thank you to the fine folks over there.
Oh, yeah.
These classes are held the fourth Monday of each month from 5:30 until 6:30. It's an hour-long class are geared for those who are caring for or have interest in the geriatric population. 1 hour of continuing education will be given for each participant. And the February class will be held on February 22nd, again at 5:30. February's topic will be Alzheimer's disease. There's no charge for these classes.
Wow.
For more information, you may contact Ms. Paula Edwards, and her number is 919-705-1785, or you can contact the Peggy Seeger Center for more information.
Very good. That number's absolutely right, 705-1785.
That's right, that's right.
Tonight, Mystery Masterpieces, part of February's first Friday at the Arts Council of Wayne County. Backed by popular demand, one of the Arts Council's fan favorites, Mystery Masterpieces, will be a featured event at February's first Friday. That's tonight, beginning at 5 p.m. Call 736-3300 for details. That's tonight's program. Also, today and tomorrow, the Praxis Film Festival, a celebration of the 6th annual. It's a 2-day film event. Praxis Film Festival, celebrating filmmakers who bring ideas to life on the big screen. Today. It's tonight, and tomorrow. The festival featuring independent and student films, short and feature length, and this year, Praxis celebrates 24 films from across the U.S. and around the world. And you can get a list of the films by going to somewhere online for a list of the films.
You can go to the Paramount Theater's website, paramounttheater.org, and you'll see a
believe
full
it's Goldsboro
lineup.
Paramount.
Goldsboro Paramount, that too. But here's the beautiful thing: if you Google it, it'll show up. But dude,
That's right.
the Paramount Theater has got their entire lineup, and this Praxis Film Festival is garnering a lot of attention in the state for the work that's being done. So Jack Cannon has been working very hard, along with Sherry Archibald, on ensuring that this unique opportunity is brought to our community. So check out the lineup and certainly be a part of it if you are able.
That is exactly right. Here we go. Very quickly, today's birthday is actor Stuart Damon. Having a birthday today, so is Christopher Guest. Barbara Hershey, talented lady, beautiful woman. She's 68 today. Jonathan Freeman, actor, voice artist, and all that stuff. Tim Meadows, Jennifer Jason Lee, and Laura Linney having birthdays today. And there you go.
Happy.
Happy everything. Yeah, that's our program for today. We'll be back Monday morning at whatever time. What time we get here?
7
o'clock, yeah. Let's make it 7. We'll see you then. Have your coffee. And then again at noon, then again at 5:30. Have yourself a fine weekend. Please enjoy doing something outdoors. Like maybe going for a walk tomorrow for Grover Wayne Go. We're going to meet here at the courthouse, or somebody's going to meet here at the courthouse tomorrow afternoon. All right, so enjoy the weekend, and if you're traveling anywhere, please wear your seatbelt. So until Monday, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
And this is Wayne Goldsboro Television.